Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Ron from the RIIL Sports Show, right here on the Sports Fan Base Network, Rhode Island, SFBNRI.com, and all of our social media platforms. I'm joined by my buddy here, Matt Jolis. How you doing, Matt?
Yo, what's up?
How's it going? So Matt and I decided to do this kind of impromptu Rhody Sports Show today for everyone because we are on the heels of the press conference from the Rhode Island Interscholastic League that happened today, which we were both privy to. And, you can see it out there on social media. I'm sure a lot of you are following it, but winter sports are a go, right? We got the green light on winter sports. There are guidelines. There's a lot of stuff to talk about with it. And, again, we were on the press conference. So we feel like we could get on here and tell everybody some stuff that's going on. And I know there's a lot of questions, a lot of things that, no, everyone's always talking about. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We thought we had a game on Friday or Saturday. We don't have a game this week. And, hopefully a lot of this stuff gets put to rest. So, first off, Matt had some great questions for the Interscholastic League when we were on the press conference today. And, they had some great responses to him as well. Matt, you want to kind of go over maybe a couple of the questions you asked these guys? They were really, pertinent. And I think that's, this stuff, there's going to be people watching today and in the next couple of days, go back and watch the recording of this show. They're going to want some questions answered, but you asked some good ones. So what were they?
Right. Yeah. And I think especially, one of the big ones is as we're talking about this, we're talking about all of the, the return to play and everything. But one of the bigger things is what the effect is on the athletes themselves. And I had an opportunity during the press conference, asked RIIL Executive Director Mike Lunny the question about how has this been affecting the mental health and social health of the players and the coaches on the teams. We talk so much about high school sports, and you and I both know as people who played, and of course you've got kids who play, that being a part of those teams is integral to our high school experiences. Even playing in college is integral to your college experience. So I asked Mike Lunny about, like getting this green light, how important it was psychologically. And of course the response from him was great in literally just backing exactly that up that I just said, that they wanted to do everything that they possibly could to make sure, and especially after on the heels of hearing like Connecticut canceling their football season, they wanted to do everything that they could to make sure that they were able to get this green light and get procedures and protocols in place to allow these kids to be able to play, because Mike Lunny said this is important for the kids psychologically, having been cooped up in their homes. A lot of them are doing virtual school. They're not around their friends during the day. And so this was super important for them to be able to have sports going forward. And I know he and the RIIL, and I'm sure with all the coaches that we've talked to since the end of the press conference, are all ecstatic that they're able to bring those players together. It gets them out of the house. It gets them around friends. It gets them something else to do.
So one of the things I'm just trying to share the show onto as many of the Facebook pages as we possibly can. But one of the things that, I thought was interesting is that, we sit there and we're in this press conference. We're kind of all there together. There was, I'd say, what do you think, Matt? 12 to 14 people there, not a ton.
There were 25 people on that call.
Oh, 25. Okay, well, sometimes when you're,
I mean, two of them were RIIL people, so but there was
25 people. All right, so it's a little more than I thought, but let's just say 25 people on the call. So there's 25 people on the call, and that's in if you think about that, that's not many in the whole state of Rhode Island, and with everyone that is so immersed in this sports like conflict that's going on right now. We had 25 people. So the message now, RIIL made a nice like press release, kind of like banner for social media. They shared it out, a little blue box like they always do, the whole bit. Had some stuff in there, which was good. But, having those 25 people in the same place, being able to listen to Mike Lunny and to Tom Marcello, his assistant, listen to them talk about what's going on and the stance that the Interscholastic League has on sports. I think it's a lot different. You get a much different feel, you know. So a couple of the things, let's talk, because we obviously have a pretty strong football base that watch the show. We have a strong wrestling. We got hockey going on now and all this kind of stuff. We can talk about that. But one of the questions that I asked was, what was a high risk sport? Because right away out of the gate they said it's going to be high risk sports, which are defined by the National Federation of High School Sports. So the NFHS defines the high risk sports in the country. And the 3 high risk sports currently right now were football, wrestling, and competitive cheerleading, right? So they didn't give us reasons why. So, before everyone starts flipping, oh, how come this and that? No, we didn't get reasons. All right. This is just what the NFHS was listing. Then Mr. Lunny said, and we are abiding by the NFHS's not restrictions, but by their recommendations. So if the NFHS is saying that these are high risk sports, then the Rhode Island Interscholastic League is recognizing that and using that as their guideline. And so currently, we asked the question, and the question was answered. Currently, Rhode Island has a 0 tolerance for high risk sport in the state. So if it was football season, wrestling season, or competitive cheer season right now, right this very second, like as we sit here,
you're not playing.
You're not playing. Okay. So now everyone can be, oh, I thought, that this everyone in the world is going to want to pull and tug at you, right? Everyone, but so hear us out. If you were playing right this very second, you would not be allowed to play if it was your season. But football still has some time. February 22nd was the original date. I think I heard something about March 8th. Maybe it got backed up like a week or two because everything got backed up. And we can get to hockey in a second. So that got backed up. Am I saying this right, Matt?
Yeah, you're right on.
Okay.
Right on the line.
So now, football is the first high risk sport that could potentially feel the wrath of this NFHS classification because it's very close. I mean, we're a little over a month away from when fall 2 season is supposed to start. So if fall 2 season comes and the high risk, if football is still a high risk sport, and I'm not, that there's a chance there won't be a season. And that is exactly what I got out of that, Matt. Tell me if I'm speaking out of turn. I'm not saying they're not having it. None of us know, right?
No, we don't. And that was also, one of my other questions that I asked with Mike Lunny was, what has the RIIL learned? We've been in this for 9 months now. If you think back to, March when everything kind of like went into the first pause and we had the spring season get canceled. Fall was not obviously what we expected it to be. Look at where we are here. Delay now to finally getting the green light for winter season. We should have started winter season about 3 weeks ago. And so that was actually one of my other questions, Tim, is what has the RIIL learned in the last 9 months that makes it easier for them to be able to understand how to advise the schools and everybody going forward. And I think it's also, he answered it, I think, in what you were just talking about, saying, well, it's not just us. We've kind of all come together nationally, with the NFHS and all these other, all the other state organizations or whatever, to all understand how we're running this kind of all together and not solo, everybody doing their own thing under the same auspices and the same guidelines. I think the NFHS has probably got it right, so to speak. I'll say maybe in football and wrestling, they've got it right. I don't think they do in competitive cheerleading. That's not as high contact a sport as football and wrestling is.
It's not though, Matt. I don't know. I didn't know we were going to have this discussion, but competitive cheerleading
I'll just put it
all contact.
Oh, it's contact, but I'll just put it in respects to this. If UCA and NCA can have all of the national club championships, all the elite cheer championships, if they could just have majors this past week, why can't you have competitive cheerleading in for the high schools? They're having summit happen, majors happened, like Boardwalk Blast happen. They're having cheer season. Like ECE Bombshells in Massachusetts just won a national championship 2 weeks ago. So competitive cheer season is happening. Yes, they're doing it virtually where the clubs are competing at their home venues, live streamed into the NCAA or UCA judges, and then they're scoring it, and that's how they're having cheer championships. So why can't the schools do the same thing then? Obviously you can't have virtual wrestling or virtual football games, but like, I get it I understand where they're doing it with football and wrestling. I think they're right now to give it a little bit of time. Let's see where we are in February, March. But look, if we keep on going the rate that we've gone in the past couple of weeks, if we keep on the mitigation measures that we have been, if we get more vaccine shots out, if we get 1 million shots a day over the first 100 days, now that Biden got inaugurated today, there's no reason to say that in a month from now we can't be playing football or we can't be wrestling. I don't see why. I don't see why we can't.
No, I don't see why we can't either. I don't think I share the same exact sentiment as you, but that's like up for opinion, right? A lot of people will, they want to talk about what, obviously people in the wrestling community are more passionate about wrestling, and people in the football community are more passionate about football. Like I get all that. But it's really like, I always knew, and it's unfortunate because I'm in the football and the wrestling community. We're actually in all communities, right? But personally, I'm in those communities, and I always knew, and I've had conversations, about this with, certain coaches out there and stuff that, hey, what did you think they were gonna classify wrestling as a sport that was low risk? I mean, when you're basically, you're wearing a singlet and that's about it, right?
And you're engaged, and I understand that with football and with wrestling, you're engaged one-on-one with someone. Hockey.
Well, no, football is not
hockey and basketball. Sure, you got the hit that happens, but
right.
You're not engaged one-on-one with someone.
In hockey, you're not.
In hockey, yeah, you
kind of are though when you make hits. I mean, that's one-on-one.
Yeah, but you have the face shields on the helmet.
Yeah, but football, you could put the inner face shield inside. They have those now. It's like the inner face shield inside.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of the NFL players and college players.
So they call it in hockey, it's a fishbowl or a bubble. Yep. Right, that's what they call it. So you could and lacrosse and football, have the helmets and they have the face masks. So they have the capability of having bubbles if they really wanted to. Obviously wrestling would be a little different. It'd be weird if you had like a helmet on or something. I mean, I don't know. You'd have to wear kind of like a face mask. One of the things that I said was, I've been, I grew up in wrestling, and my kids grew up in wrestling, and I've been around the sport most of my life. Okay. And, it's always had a stigma to it. The mats need to be, now this is before COVID. This is without COVID, right? You got to sanitize all the mats before and after, before and after practices, before and after matches. You have blood time, you have special cleaner, and people have to run out and clean up blood off the mat, and you have to do this, you have to do that, right? And now you're in the middle of a pandemic. So what do you think that people who are uneducated about the sport are going to think? You have people that
exactly.
If you have one person hovering over the top of all sports, right? And then they're looking down and they're saying, ooh, look at wrestling. Like that, I could see that. I'm just trying to be realistic. Right. Like, I don't think it's right, but I can see that that's the way it would probably happen. Football is the one that really vexes me.
I think you're right. Wrestling, I think people are going to look at a sport like wrestling and they're going to say, okay, there's nothing in wrestling that mitigates you. Football is a little interesting because I agree with you. It kind of vexes in that you've got pads on, you've got your jersey, you've got this, you've got that. You can put a face shield inside the helmet. You can there's and then yes, you're engaging in the trenches on the line. If you're a lineman, you're going up 1v1 against somebody, but you can still have matters that mitigate. We played field hockey season. We played soccer season. We're going to play ice hockey and basketball season. Right. There's no less protection in football than there is in those sports.
I don't know. It's crazy. But so anyway, so now that we've kind of a lot of people say they don't know. We don't know really what's happening. We don't really know what's happening. We haven't heard anything. We don't really know. Well, Matt and I are trying to give you the most up-to-date information that we possibly can give you. So one, high-risk sports, football, wrestling, competitive cheer. If there were seasons right now, those sports would be done for the year, right? Now, football is the next one up. We have to wait and see. Everything is a waiting game. You're not going to know until right before the season. Wrestling's been moved to, I guess, a late spring 2, whatever they want to call this season now, April 26th. Kids would still be wrestling into the summer when school is over. And there's no plans, I don't think, for a state championship I'm sorry. New England's have been canceled already. There may be a state championship. I don't know. But also, nationals are happening in Virginia Beach. So it's so weird that nationals are going on, but we can't have kids wrestle until April.
Right. And so as what to kind of latch onto your point there that you were talking about with state championships, what we heard is that they're talking about divisional championships within the region, but they're talking about regional championships, but as per there being a state championship, that has been put to the side. They're not going to have a state championship for at least the winter sports. We haven't heard anything, definitively about spring, but they'll have group championships, and then that'll be it. That'll be the end of it for specifically for basketball. That's a big thing, is there'll be this league or group championship.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is that what Matt and I heard today was that there will be their plan. All right. So anything we say is not gospel. Anything we say is what we heard, and everything is up in the air. No one is going to say, oh, you know what, Mike Lunny, you know what, Interscholastic League, you know what, Department of Health, 3 weeks ago, you said we were going to have a season, and now you said no. They don't. That could happen, right? And they're not going to even bat an eyelash at you. This is about a pandemic and keeping people safe. I know it seems ridiculous. I know it seems overbearing, but that is in their mindsets. So you have to kind of put yourself in their shoes so you understand where they're coming from. But yeah, we were told the plan is that there will be playoffs, divisional championships. Okay, so let's talk a little bit, Matt. Hockey and basketball. Since we're here, we touched on high risk sports. Now let's talk about the winter sports. So first off, congratulations to all the winter sports out there. Hockey, basketball, and track. Track's getting to go too, right?
Yep, indoor track and field has got to go as well.
Right. And now, as far as hockey goes, they didn't really tell us any restriction as far as. Do you recall off the top of your head what they said about spectators?
So there was nothing directly from the RIIL that they're putting a restriction in on spectators. They referred it to contacting the individual school athletic directors and or the rinks to which the schools play at, because the schools obviously are playing at community level rinks, and it's incumbent upon each of the individual rinks as to set their policy. The recommendation that came from the Rhode Island Department of Health is that facilities should operate at an occupancy level of no more than one person per 150 square feet. but that it is incumbent upon facilities to issue the regulations at their discretions.
Right, and that's for hockey. Now, for basketball, there was something passed down from the Interscholastic League, and it said no spectators at all, 100%, no spectators in a school gymnasium. So, in any
Correct.
gymnasium that is on the school property. So, this is for everyone out there. So, you know, if you have a basketball game in your school gymnasium, there are no spectators allowed.
And
No.
then the admission came. The admission came that that the RIIL is, and this is a shameless plug. The admission came. The RIIL is suggesting and highly recommending to all schools to use any possible streaming platform that's available for schools to be able to live stream their games. So shameless plug for our live streaming services, SFBN Rhode Island, who is an affiliate network of the NFHS network now as well too.
Right.
You know, certainly we have already been contacted by a few schools in regards to broadcasting basketball games for them, but then also for schools as well that haven't contacted the network, please do. We can certainly help you out with that. And if you have an NFHS network system, say like Pixelot, contact us as well too, because we'll help you be able to navigate how we can be able to help operate that system for you so that you make sure you get a high level broadcast.
Right. So we're approved to use Pixelot systems. We're an approved affiliate member of the NFHS network and the only crew in Rhode Island. So, you know, if they want to bring a crew in from before, it would have to be from out of state. So we're here now. We are approved to use the Pixelot systems. Thank you to Matt. Matt set that up for us with our company. A huge step for us. And this is not about a commercial, but we do offer the service and we are available still. But I'll tell you right now, and this is the truth, folks, it is going fast. It's going fast, just like soccer did. All of a sudden, no one was talking to us about soccer. And then we literally did 10 games in 14 days, and people were knocking down our doors and like, we need you, we need you, we need you. And we were already booked. So don't wait till the last minute. You know, go to sfbnri.com. You can go to contact us down at the bottom. Or you can simply find me or Matt on social media. You can go to our social media, send us a message. Really simple, right? And you know, right now we are working with 5. Oh, Matt's got it. You can look at
right there.
Right there. Matt's got. We have 5 schools we're working with for hockey right now, possibly 6 to 7 after some conversations today. So 5 to 7 schools we're working on with hockey, but there's a lot of schools that don't want to talk to us or that want to pass. I'm just letting you know, all these schools are working together with us. We're all working as a team to be able to bring these games to your families at home. And also, we just landed 2 basketball schools, possibly 3. One was for a whole season. So someone gave us their whole season of girls basketball. So congratulations to you. We're not going to hand names out right now. Everyone's going to find out soon enough, but we're not going to give names out over the show. But we're proud to be able to do it. We're available 7 days a week. Doesn't really matter which nights. We have 2 crews, plus we can operate NFHS systems, so we can do multiple games in a night. It's, you know, we have this capability. So reach out to us if you're looking to do that. Now, hockey. So it's pretty interesting. Let's talk about scheduling a little bit. So, you know, we've got immersed in this hockey world right now. And Matt, talk about how the scheduling's going, because just so everyone knows, it's not easy. It's not easy for us to find games. It's not. Just tell people what's going on.
It's not. And the schedule, I mean, we've heard this from a lot of coaches. There's a lot of work that has to get done on the schedule because they had a schedule put together. As that schedule got pushed back, they've been struggling to figure out how to shift those games around in. There are some schools where if you look at their schedules as it looks right now, it looks like they only have 5 games for the whole season. We know that's not true. We know that's not going to be the case. So
hockey season got extended by a week because it got backed up. So
but even still with a week extension, you're still going to end up having to have some Wednesday night games, or, you know, some Tuesday or Wednesday night games somewhere in the midst of this to be able to get, because one of the big things that I caught on that Mike Lunny said was, we're not shortening the season of any school. And I think it was also his assistant director
Well, he
said
said
the
that
same
was his
thing.
goal, right? That was his
Yeah,
goal.
they said they're not shortening the season of any school. So that means
I don't
that's
know how
why
that's possible. That means they're gonna have to pick up weekday games.
right. That's what I'm saying
Okay.
is like, so all these games in the last 2 weeks that have gotten knocked off are going to end up having to land somewhere in Tuesday or Wednesday games to be able to make it work. And that's really going to be interesting. I'm looking right now at what we're seeing, and I'm just seeing a lot of red on the board right now.
Right. Yeah, there is, guys. So really quick, I have to give, while we're here, and we obviously can see on the ticker we have people watching us live, but we also know that people are going to come back to the show in the next day or two. Facebook blocked us from sharing right now, which is, they do this to us from time to time. I don't hate on them. Pretty soon we're not going to have to use them anymore. But people are going to come back here in the next few days, and I'm going to take this moment to kind of say thank you to my compadre over here, Matthew, because we've spent multiple hours and days and meetings going over schedules and over schedules and over schedules. Like, it has not stopped. And just to go back on the Interscholastic League website the very next day and see it trashed. So Matt has a whiteboard, and we get on a call and we talk about the games, and we'll be writing in where can we be and who can we help, because everyone's like, we want you, and we're like, yeah, well, that is a great feeling for us. We're a little limited. We're actually in much better shape than we were, but we're a little limited right now. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to try and get every team out there in Rhode Island at least a game, if not more, but at least a game. We're going to try and do that.
Right.
So in order for that to happen, that takes a lot of scheduling. So we put and it's not, and I'm not blaming the Interscholastic League. Okay. We're not going to do that. There's no pointing fingers or blaming. We're just going to say the schedule keeps getting blown up. It keeps getting changed, and everything keeps getting backed up. So we've put a lot of time and effort, and now there's games that are a go this weekend. Some of them got canceled. Some of them aren't. We don't know where we're going to be yet.
And hockey is in kind of a very unique situation because of the fact that this is not like the college level or the minor leagues or pros where the schools have a defined rink. This isn't Providence College, that has its own rink. This isn't BU or Northeastern or BC that have their own rinks, or Harvard. Like, we're talking about your local school, wherever you are in. And yes, there are some schools that we know are so lucky that they happen to have a rink that's like right there at their school.
Right.
For a majority of the schools that we're talking about, you're playing at your local rink. I know for me growing up, we didn't even play in the same town that my school was in, because the closest rink that could host high school hockey was, 10, 15 minutes away in, the next town over. And you were playing games at 7:30, 9:00 at night, whatever time that you could get after the rest of the rink day occurred. So hockey's in a little bit of a different situation than, say, basketball is, where the school can just say, okay, we're going to play it girls game Tuesday, 3:45 p.m. Boys will play at 5:36. So hockey is sort of at the grace and mercy of, Adelard and Thayer and Levy and, and whoever else Cranston veterans and, whoever else it might be. So,
right. A lot of those rinks are ran by the park and recreation departments of the town. So, Smithfield is run by someone different, and we're going to be in the Smithfield rink. Cranston's run by someone different. I haven't heard from the Cranston people. I don't know if we're going to be there helping them out. A lot of schools have live barn, right? And schools that have live barn, they're still hiring us because live barn sucks. I'm just gonna say it right out. I don't care. We're in
I
competition.
I have
Barn's
not heard
terrible.
one, and so I have not heard Live Barn until this year. I had not even heard about Live Barn, but every single thing that I've heard from a coach, a player, a parent, or whatever, since I first heard about Live Barn, even media people have been like, "Yeah, I don't know."
Yeah, it sucks. Live Barn
Like,
sucks.
I don't know what's
Now,
up with that.
because we went out and became affiliates of the NFHS network because we know that one, they're going to allow us to broadcast games for everyone out there under our own banner, and when it gets too crazy, we can send crews to operate games under the NFHS banner, and we can operate games under Pixelot, and we can do state championships if they're allowed.
Yeah,
if they're allowed. So that's really exciting for us. It's a dream come true.
Well, and all of our games
want.
that we're broadcasting are gonna still be available under that NFHS network banner. So that's
and
like
under
one of the
us. And under
like
us.
that's one of the big things that's really cool is like our games that are going out there are going to be kind of like backline supported by NFHS network, which helps to increase our production capability level. Like we're gonna have, if you've seen our games we did this fall, take that and throw it into another stratosphere, because that's what our games are going to look like this winter when we do hockey season, and you're going to be able to see that on all of our platforms, and you're also going to be able to be on NFHS network too.
Hockey's going to be crazy.
Hockey's going to be fun.
Hockey's going to be fun. We're going to put out a great product for the state of Rhode Island. It's going to be great. So let's take a quick break, Matt. You want to take a quick break? We're going to come back, and then let's talk more about some of the notes. I got some stuff here. We could talk about Connecticut, talk about NFHS restrictions, Department of Health, some stuff like that. Talk about winter sports, and then talk about what the springtime looks like.
Yeah, let's do that. You're watching Rhody Sports Show on SFBN Rhode Island. Welcome back.
Welcome back. There's some comments that are going on.
Commercial looked like. Remember what that commercial looked like 8 months ago when it said 4 podcasts? Now it says like 14.
Right. I think it did say. No, I think it did say 4 podcasts before.
And now it says 14, and that's not even right anymore. We're at like 20.
14. We haven't had 14 in 6 months.
The commercial says 14. We got to update. It's crazy what, this is growing like crazy.
Anybody that's watching or that's going to watch, we have some really fun and exciting stuff coming up very soon. We're not going to let the cat out of the bag yet. Some of you out there probably have heard it, but we got,
we're not letting the cat out of the bag about February 1st?
No. Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Why? Which one do you want to talk about?
The new show.
I think we should wait.
We're not going to talk about the new show? All right. We're going to tease you. New show coming.
Wait, which new show? We have a couple.
Mine.
Oh, no. You could talk about your show. Go for it. I didn't want to talk about the network yet.
Oh, no. I don't want to.
That's coming. That's coming. But go ahead, Matt. Matt, tell really quick. Let's tell people about your show. Like take a minute, and then let's get back to business.
So for all of you who have ever tuned in and seen my shows that I've done in the past year, and that's The Game and Sports World Weekly, we have taken both of those shows, molded it into one, and kicked it to another level. Coming February 1st, The Morning Crew kicks off 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday morning, and we're going to blow this thing out of the park. It's going to be fun. We're going to talk news. We're going to talk sports. We're going to talk entertainment. We're going to talk like all sorts of things going on. It's going to be just a fun way to get your day going. A lot of different people from the network, all the different podcast show hosts and live streaming show hosts are going to be jumping in every day. Gianna Cambria, host of Play Like a Girl, is going to be joining me. We're going to have Bachelor Tuesdays. We're going to talk about what happened on The Bachelor on Monday night. So people are going to want to tune in
you
and
clear that with me.
we're gonna armchair quarterback The Bachelor.
I think you did clear that with me.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a lot of fun with that show. It's just gonna be
wrong.
It's just gonna be a lot of fun. Just gonna be a good way to start the day.
I can't remember if you cleared that with me. The
Yeah,
Bachelor?
I talked to you about that. I told you that was
you probably did. You probably did.
And for those of you who liked And That's the Game and the style of that, that's actually going to become part of the Morning Cruise show. We're going to do that cool, like 10-minute just smackdown on a sports story that's going on, and just, call it as we see it. And that's the game.
I like that idea too. So let's talk a little more winter sport action. So I wanted to talk about, well, not necessarily winter sports, but we could talk about, the Connecticut sports. So here's what, just so everyone knows, here's what bothers me or worries me about football out there right now. What worries me about football is that Connecticut canceled their fall 2 season. All right. So now that Connecticut has canceled their fall 2 season, I'm worried that Rhode Island's going to follow suit. Right. So that scares me a little bit. So Connecticut made the decision here. I got the notes right here. Connecticut made the decision because of a recommendation from the Connecticut State Department of Health. So the fallacy out there was that it came from the NFHS, that the NFHS handed down that, football was high risk and Connecticut followed that. But that's not true. Not according to what we learned today on our press conference. Football in Connecticut is not happening, and it had to do with the Department of Health. Now, the Department of Health did take into account that the NFHS, what's the word I'm using? But not dignified, but just recognized football as a high-risk sport. So then they put that into a different pool in a category. So that's what scares me about wrestling. It's not, it's very hard to talk to people in the football or wrestling community. You try to tell them about what's happening, and no one really wants to hear it. And then they want to come at you about it, but you're just kind of passing along the information. But it's because they're so passionate. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, and it's a tricky situation because it's sort of ironic in a way, because your comment was exactly, I was on a phone call with someone from the RIIL before the press conference happened, and that's exactly what he said, is that they're going through this battle of trying to get people to understand when they say something or when they make a decision, it's not a division. It's not the RIIL. It's not, they're not the ones that are, they're under the hand being tied behind the back from Rhode Island DOH or Rhode Island DEM, or the governor, the governor's office itself. No longer occupied by Gina Raimondo after today. But their hands are tied in that situation. So it's very tricky, because I think a lot of people, and that's why we're doing this show today, even, is to talk about this, is to knock off a lot of those factors of saying, don't go after the RIIL. It's not their fault. Right. They're not the ones making the rules.
So I wanted to read, sorry, I want to read just a couple, because for some reason, Facebook sucks. For some reason, it's because the comment's not coming through, but because we usually would pop them up on the screen. But we got some comments on here, and it's about wrestling. It says they don't understand that basketball is 10 times more of a high-risk sport than wrestling. Well, I'm not – okay, that's an opinion unless you have facts. Show me where it says that. We are here to discuss this, and I'm open to discuss it with anyone, but you can't just come at me with an opinion or how you feel about something. Show me a fact, right? Wrestling doesn't even fall into the close contact guideline. It states you have to be within 6 feet of somebody or 15 minutes for 15 minutes. to be considered close contact. Longest wrestling match will ever go, even with overtime's 8 minutes. If you have hockey, basketball, you should have wrestling. Wrestling started on time December 2nd with all winter sports in Ohio, Oklahoma, Michigan, Missouri. See, now this is factual, okay? So now we're getting some facts. Wrestling started with Ohio, Oklahoma, Michigan, Missouri, Virginia, Florida, Nevada, to name a few. How's that fair? It should be all or nothing. So I like that. I like a comment or someone's argument when you have facts, okay? So fact is that they're wrestling in almost every other part of the country. That Gabriel Boysu from Mayo Quanchi Wrestling in Rhode Island, Coventry, Rhode Island, Serge's son, just went to Tulsa, Oklahoma Nationals and made it to the finals. They had wrestling. And he had to leave and go to Oklahoma to wrestle because we're not doing it here. So it is happening. Now, how fair is that? I do agree with that.
Okay, so here's where I like half and half on this one. I agree. Yes, we could very well have wrestling without going too scientific on this. All of the states that you just mentioned, their transmission numbers are considerably less than Rhode Island right now. Their R1 numbers are considerably less than Rhode Island. Rhode Island right now, and the reason why this green light was so awesome to hear is because of the fact that if Rhode Island was its own country, the per capita transmission rate right now is the 4th highest in the world. If Rhode Island was its own country. California
is the 4th highest in the world? Yeah, but it doesn't have to do with like
California's number 1, Arizona's number 2, Rhode Island's number 3 by population.
It's skewed by the population.
Well, that's why I said per capita. If you look at it right now, the per capita transmission rate, which effectively accounts for what your state population is, the transmission rate is what would stack as the 4th highest in the world, which means it's over 1. It's over 1 per 1,000. And that's not where you want to be. You want to be less than 1. You want to be less than 1 is perfect. 1.5 is higher than 1.5, shut the state down. Right now, Rhode Island's teetering in that 1.5 to 2 range. If we get to 2 per 1,000 as an infection rate, we're back to March and we're shutting the state down again.
Yeah.
In March, we were at a 3 per 1,000, and that's why the state had to get shut down. That's
anybody
why
out there that wants to, not to cut you up, anyone out there that wants to leave comments, we'll read your comments, questions, anything about winter sports. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and put them right in our box, the comment box. We had a little privacy thing going on there with Facebook, but I fixed it, so we're good to go.
Let's talk for a second though, because we've talked about, like all the regulations and everything. And one of the things that we haven't brought up that was talked about during the press conference was testing and what the school
come up though. It came up, right? Weekly testing is
we just haven't talked about it on the show yet.
All right, so go ahead. Let's talk.
So the question got asked about what are the schools doing for testing, and I know you and I were texting offline about this, going, okay, how are the schools already going to cover that? Because the NFHS is recommending weekly testing, and it turns out, and I was surprised, this was news.
No, not recommending. They're
mandating.
That's the Department of Health. The Department of Health handed it down and said that.
And it turns out, and it turns out they're already doing that.
They were already doing it.
And I was kind of like, holy cow. Like that was a shock moment to me, kind of, that they're already doing that.
Yeah. And I mean, unfortunately, there are schools that have had to postpone part of their seasons already in the winter. Hockey and basketball, there's already teams that have had COVID cases. So the protocol, I don't know, sorry that my throat's like, but the protocol basically backed them up 3 weeks. I mean,
right.
If so right now, here's the way I see it. Hockey's going to start Friday and Saturday. We're live streaming somewhere. We were, and then we weren't, and then we had a game booked, and then we didn't, then we had 2 games booked, and then they're gone. And so we're trying to figure out where we're going to end up. That's for this weekend. Next weekend we'll be in good shape. Guys, I think we're gonna probably be streaming through anywhere from 2 to 4 to 5. Who knows how many games we're gonna stream. And
We
we're
got a
also
lot of
gonna be
games.
doing basketball during the week. February 1st is gonna be crazy. You're launching your new show. We're gonna have a ton. You're not gonna get any sleep. We're gonna be live streaming all night, and then you're gonna be getting up in the morning to do your morning show. And then we're gonna be launching. We have two big
Ron. You
launches.
know I eat this.
I know, me too. And then we have 2 big launches coming up. 2 site launches, huge. February 1st, we're supposed to launch both of them. We got new shows coming out. We got all sorts of stuff on this. It's crazy. But so
site launches coming.
Is it?
We got 3.
Oh,
we
3. Oh my
site
gosh.
launches
We have 3 site launches coming. 3 site launches. Oh, wow. I forgot I gotta calm down. We're not gonna put his name out there, but one coach we talked to the other day on a conference call was like, dude, you gotta slow down. And I said, we can't. We don't know how to slow down. He's like, man. He's like, slow down. But then he was only
Rome wasn't built in a day, but like hey,
in a couple months.
Yeah,
we're trying to build Rome in a few months. So anyway, all right. Well, so let's see. Let's recap. Right. We have high risk sports, football, wrestling, competitive cheer. Football is the first season that's going to be coming, so we're not sure what's going to happen with that. And then competitive cheer, we didn't talk about any type of season for that. I think it just got canceled.
Yeah.
And then wrestling would be in spring 2, April 26th. So they have quite a bit of time before, they either get the green light or the red light, right? So that's time. Now, winter sports. We have hockey as a go. And basketball is a go. Hockey's been backed up how many weeks now, Matt?
3 weeks. It'll be 3 weeks by the time we drop the puck this weekend. Yeah.
So hockey backed up 3 weeks. And there's actually a few games happening this weekend. There were a lot more and they got scratched. There's teams that don't have enough practice time in because of COVID. There's teams that had to do COVID protocol that aren't playing until next week. There's all sorts of stuff happening, but they're going, which is like a very positive thing for us and them and for the whole state. So we're very happy.
I just popped up the list here. It's indoor track and field, basketball, ice hockey, gymnastics, and swimming and diving is allowed to start games Friday.
Well, swimming and diving, why wouldn't they have been allowed anyway? I mean, COVID doesn't live in water. That's already been proven.
I figure they just anything that's boxed into the season
Right.
Anything that's boxed into the particular winter 2 season, they just kind of said hold on, and now they're letting the winter 2 season itself go in full. So it's indoor track and field, basketball, hockey, gymnastics, and swimming and diving. Indoor track and field will not have fans.
Indoor track and field, no fans at PCTA. So if anyone wants us to live stream track and field, let us know. We're available.
Yeah, they said indoor track and field, no fans, because they're going to be using every single stitch of the facility to socially distance the squads.
Right. I wonder if we could live stream swimming. I wonder if our lens would get all foggy.
Yeah and no. I've done it. I've done track and field, and I've done swimming and diving events. Yeah,
swimming and I want to call a diver, and he's got the perfect 3/4 twist. Like, is that what it is? I don't know how you would. I mean, how?
No, you were right. You can call it. Yeah, 3/4 twist to 1.5 pike.
Perfect form on that backflip, Paul. I don't know how I would do it, but anyway, I could definitely call a swimming race. That would be funny. So anyway,
swimming races are actually better to call because you can actually call it and be loud. Diving is harder to call because you literally have to be as quiet as a golf announcer on the 14th hole.
Ready? Okay, Matt. He's getting ready. His toes are on the edge of the diving board. And here he goes. Straight up form. Oh, and a great backflip. Oh, Little splash, because isn't it? Don't they judge you by your splash?
They
Do a
do.
little splash, Matt.
They
Like you have
judge
to
you
whip
by
it.
your entry to the water.
Yeah, right. Like something like that. You have to.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right.
Exactly. That's how it would sound.
If
That's
anyone
kind of
knows,
what
I
they
do
thought.
have a mic. It's just I don't need it right here. It's over here, but yeah, no. So that would be funny. So all right, and so where we were recapping. All right, so winter sports, hockey. You said gymnastics. You said track and field. No sports. No sports for. No spectators. No spectators for gymnastics. No spectators for swimming. No spectators for basketball. No spectators for track and field. Our live streaming services are available, www.sfbnri.com. Okay. Contact@sfbnri.com. Shoot an email over to us. We'll get back to you. And then hockey is by the rink.
Yep.
By the rink. Okay. Now, we identified high risk in football, wrestling, and all that kind of stuff. And that one thing they didn't talk about, and so we can't give people answers about this on the show right now, is one thing they didn't talk about was lacrosse, baseball, and softball. And
They did not touch on spring season at all.
They didn't even touch it.
They didn't even touch it, which leads me to believe they're still working on spring season or they're waiting to see how things go over the next couple of months. I mean, we're still 2 months away from spring season.
Baseball and softball is a lock. You're not going to have any problem. They're spread out. You have one guy at first, one guy at short, one guy at second, one guy at third.
Yeah, I don't see how you have a problem with baseball and softball. I also don't see how you have a problem with outdoor track and field, obviously. And we're talking about outdoors as well, too.
Right.
Lacrosse is the only way where they can try to throw something against the wall and make it stick, but
right, it's too much like football and hockey. That's the problem. Yeah. But I mean, honestly, if they can put the bubbles inside of the face shield, I don't see where the issue would be. Wear a mask or just wear the bubble. Because I mean, people don't wear masks out when they wear like those plastic face shields. So if you put a plastic shield inside of the face mask, I mean, that's it, right?
Yeah, and I think Warrior has a helmet design already done.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
That has that.
Go ahead.
I think Warrior has a helmet design done. I haven't seen obviously what if Cranberry's done anything on the girls' side or whatever, but yeah, it's going to be out there. It's going to be done.
Yeah. So I actually talked to some lacrosse people just last week, and they were like, we need to start getting petitions signed. We need to start doing this and that because we're again classified as a high risk sport. Well, as of today, just to let you know, lacrosse was not high risk. Right?
Right.
It was football, wrestling, competitive cheer. So any of you lacrosse people that are freaking out, hold your horses. Let other people freak out that actually have to, and you don't freak out, and try to just like have a plan ready because every coach is going to have to submit a COVID plan. Every coach will have to do that.
Right. So, oh yeah, look at this. Tector's got one. Cascade has one. Shock has one. They've got these like shield inserts that go like inside the cage area that attach to the inside of the cage area on your helmet. So yeah, you can fit it to whether you're wearing Warrior, Tector, Cascade, Shock. They've got these visors like already done and ready to go. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And US Lacrosse and the NFHS has cleared the visors. They have said that they are now legal as long as they are clear, molded, and non-rigid. So you can't have any like that. You can't have any tint or anything on them. But yeah, they've got them. They're done. They're ready to go. So yeah, let's go play lacrosse. It's like
Well, the thing is that my first thought about any of these sports that have helmets, and this is we're trying to touch on as much as we can in this show. We're almost done, but we're trying to touch on as much as we can inside of the show here for all of you. My first thought about lacrosse, about lacrosse and football and hockey was, right, this was my thought, was that they have a lot of equipment and you have to wear your equipment at practice. So you have helmets, you have gloves, for football, shoulder pads and girdles, and hockey's got hockey equipment. Let's forget about it. I mean, these kids' bags are massive. Lacrosse, the same thing, shoulder pads, elbow pads, sticks and gloves and helmets and mouthpieces, right? So you got to sanitize that stuff every day. Kids are going to have to be responsible. And on one of the Rhody Sports show we had a few weeks ago, we had Coach Sosha from Hendricken for hockey, and we had Coach Andriozzi from Cumberland hockey. And they talked about how the kids are going to have to be responsible. A lot of the responsibility is going to get put on the kids. That's a big job for the coaches too. And so what I want kids to recognize and parents to recognize, it was so much easier for a coach or someone to pack it in, to say, you know what, this is too much. It's going to cost money. It's going to be a hassle. Like, this is just too much. We're better off just not having the season. So it's going to take a lot for a coach. And everyone needs to recognize that all these coaches are pushing hard for their seasons. Right, Matt? I mean, how many times have we had discussions about this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's probably a third of our day is just talking with coaches who want to play.
All right. Okay, so we kind of summed everything up. We touched on everything. I think I got all the notes here. Playoffs, blah, blah, blah. No fans for basketball, PCTA. All right, well, Matt, I think that's it. We got a good solid hour in.
That was a good show. That's a good wrap. I think we got all the information out.
Yeah, good show. Anyone that tuned in, thanks a lot, and we hope we were informative for you. Anyone who didn't tune in, the show's going to be right here. You can go back and take a watch. I don't think anything's going to change in the next few days, but please, feel free to scroll through the show. You can find us on our YouTube channel, on 3 Facebook pages. That's, my personal one, that's the Sports Fan Base Network, and the Ocean State Athlete Spotlight. And also you can find us on Twitch and Twitter. Matt runs our Twitter. What's the Twitter handle?
At SFBN_RI.
At SFBN_RI. You can find the show there as well. And if you have questions, feel free to hit us up. Well, so wait, hold on. We got a question here. He says, what about seniors? I mean, listen, if you're a hockey or a basketball player right now and you're a senior, you're the happiest kid alive, right? You got your winter season. I don't know what to tell you about football, wrestling, and all that stuff. It's going to be tragic if they don't get this season. That's the way. Yeah. I know that my son was a senior last year. For everyone, my son was a senior, and he lost his senior lacrosse season. And that's the sport he's playing in college, wrestling and lacrosse. So, I mean, that's tough for him. That was his love, and he lost it. Chris Carbone Jr., host of the Ocean State Athlete Podcast and a writer for our network, was on the team with my son. Like, they were both defensemen. They both lost their season last year. Sad stuff. Yeah. So, we're pulling for you guys, and anything that we can do to help bring the sport to your families at home because they can't come watch you, we're gonna be there for you. Matt came all the way up here from New Jersey to work for the company just so he could broadcast games. If you want to check out some of Matt's games, go to our YouTube channel and go to the live stream playlist, and you'll find a lot of soccer games from this fall that Matt called that were fantastic. So I guess that's it for us today.
That's it. That's a wrap.
So for Ron Robert,
Matt Jolis,
this is the Rhody Sports Show on the Sports Fan Base Network, Rhode Island. Can't really give you a time when we'd be back because this one's kind of floating. But you can look for Matt February 1st. Do you have a name for your show yet?
The Morning Crew.
All right, so the Morning Crew, right here on the Sports Fan Base Network, Rhode Island, on all our social media platforms. You can catch him from 8 to 10 every morning with his co-host Gianna Cambria and other special guests.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun.
All right, awesome. Okay, Matt, let's take us out of here.
Rhody Sports Show, SFBN Rhode Island. Good night.